welcome to City Limits, the show to provide you with information about the people, places, and events that shape the character of our community. Joining me tonight is Councilman Lacy Clay, Councilman, District 1, Missouri.
Welcome you back. So much for having me back on City Limits, Mayor McCourt. And this is, I appreciate you giving me the opportunity to come on and talk about my career fair and other issues.
Well, we're always glad to have you here because you represent us and do a wonderful job there in Washington. So, you know, we appreciate your efforts too.
Thank you so much.
Let's talk about your career fair. That's the thing coming up real soon. You got a career fair for
this
kids?
Will be our 8th annual career fair on Monday, June the 10th at Harris Stowe State University from 9:30 a.m. to 2:30 p.m. Again, Monday, June 10th, 9:30 a.m. till 2:30 p.m. at Harris Stowe State University. Our 8th annual one should be our biggest. We will have 115 local employers with over 1,000 jobs that they are trying to fill. So we would love to have your viewers who may be unemployed, who may be seeking a better employment opportunity to come out and to bring their resumes, dress for success, and sit down and talk to these local employers.
Yeah, it looks I've seen the list of some of the people that are participating in this, and it looks like you got a wide range of different jobs, so there should be an opportunity, I would think, for most occupations.
Yeah, and every year we try to time it around the time that that young people, that people are graduating from college, that people are coming out of high school or trade school, or just seeking better employment opportunities. This year we have companies like Boeing, Express Scripts, CVS Pharmacy, all of the casinos, quite a few of the hotels, and they are seeking to find and fill jobs, find employees and fill jobs. And with the local economy being what it is, we are on a slow recovery with our local economy, but we think that this is a regional opportunity for people to come and try to match up with this great employer base that we have in our region. We know that the talent is here. Those employers know that the talent is here. So this is an opportunity to match those employers with potential employees. And I look at it as a service to this region. Be it whether they come from the 1st Congressional District, which I represent, or from the 2nd or the 3rd Congressional District, or even Illinois. It is a service to this region, and I'm proud of it.
It gives, the one thing it does give everybody, it gives an opportunity to talk to an awful lot of different employers at one time, which, when you run around from office to office, a lot of times the only person you see is the receptionist, and she gives you a form, you fill it out and say, send it in. This way you get to talk to them directly, which is, certainly a benefit.
And when you think about companies like Snooks, they will have 2 booths there. They are looking to fill about 300 positions. We are so grateful and thankful that they've decided to be a part of this career fair. It seems to be one of the most popular career fairs that we have in the region annually. We had over 5,000 participant job seekers last year, and hopefully we will break that record this year. But we invite all of your viewers, all of the people in this region who seek better employment opportunities to come out.
Let's hope that you have a big group out there this year, and next year it gets smaller, and the next year smaller, and the next year smaller, which means it's successful.
Which means we are placed.
That means you're working.
And there are, and Mr. Mayor, there are some great success stories of people who found positions at the career fair and have gone on to be exemplary employees. It was just the ability for us to match those employees with those employers. And so, I mean, it tells us, okay, this is a service that was needed, that people needed to have so that they could be in one place to connect with those potential employers.
Mm-hmm. And this is for all ranges of employment, from entry level to, I guess, management.
To management,
mid-level.
and I mean, there's been some great stories of engineers that have shown up and were able to secure employment. The Office of Personnel Management will again have a booth and table, and people can look at over 100,000 federal positions that are open at any given time, and apply for those positions also.
Sounds great. Well, hopefully our viewers that are looking for a job, either because they lack one or wanting to change careers or something, comes out there and fills in an application and gets a job. So.
I really hope so, and it's one way to address our local economy here. So I look forward to Monday, June the 10th at Harris-Stowe State University. For more information, you can call our office at 367-1970. That's 367-1970, or go to lacyclay.house.gov.
Okay, let's talk about what's happening in the line of Medicare and in Washington.
Well, let's talk about Washington in general. Just speaking of jobs, we really need to address the U.S. economy, and by helping to create jobs, by giving some help to states and local communities, by having some infusion of a public works program. As you know, bridges and roads and streets are crumbling all over this country, and the federal government should step in and help these communities rebuild their infrastructure. When you think about it, that's what governments are for, to assist and to help and to provide essential services to people throughout this country. We have not done a good job of that. We are in a stalemate in Washington. And so those of us who have been around a while have never seen this type of dysfunction in government. I'm in my 30th year in elective office, and it's really disheartening to see the dysfunction of Washington, with neither side being able to come together on small or large issues, be it strengthening Medicare and Social Security for future generations, or for coming up with a jobs program for this country to get our economy back on track. We have seen some signs of the economy recovering, but we certainly could give it a kick and push it along further if the will was there.
Yeah, you're right. There seems to be dysfunction in both Washington and even here in the state of Missouri. If you look at the legislature and the things that didn't get passed, I mean, you look at Highway 70.
Right.
That thing is aging. That was built during the Eisenhower administration. And no matter what you do today, you know, people say, well, okay, well, we'll pass it next year. Well, that means that when it's actually going to be worked on is like 20 years from now. 15 to 20 years. It takes that long to get everything, in line and all the acquisitions and everything. It's not something you just turn around, and you're absolutely correct. It's very, very dysfunctional at this point. It just seems like nobody wants to talk or compromise. It's my way or the highway, and it just don't work.
You are, and what happens in this dysfunction, we lose sight of our main objective, which should be to provide for the American people or the people of Missouri, to create an atmosphere that fosters economic development. And you're right about the interstate highway system. It was begun the year I was born, 1956. So that's how old some sections of Interstate 70 are. And it's a shame that the state legislature and the governor couldn't come to terms on how we improve our infrastructure, especially along that highway corridor, that would have attracted new businesses to this state, that would have helped create jobs throughout this state, be it construction jobs or attracting new industries to our state, because we have something to offer that other states don't, and that is a modern highway system. And that didn't happen, and it didn't happen with the economic development tools that we need, such as historic tax credits and land assemblage tax credits, which I'm very much for. And the same thing goes for our federal government too. We haven't really approached how we restructure our complex tax code and simplify it and make it easier, make it so that average Americans can fill out their own tax forms and come up with a fair tax system that everyone pays their fair share.
Yep, that's going to be a challenge.
Oh, for sure.
Every time they make a change to the tax code, it adds 200 pages to
It
the thing.
certainly does. Well, that's why we
difficult.
need to get to simplification. I mean, I have to hire an accountant to prepare my taxes. When I was a younger man, and the tax code was a little more simple, I could fill out my own. But now I have to hire an accountant to make sure I do it correctly.
Yeah. Well, even trying to remember what all the different regulations and the changes are from year to year, you got a book like that takes a CPA to figure out what's going on. You're right.
Exactly.
That's I don't know if we'll ever get there with that, but hopefully. I know there's some action in Washington about student loans, and they're trying to increase the interest rate on student loans. What's going on with that?
Well, here's what the House and the Senate, as well as the President's administration, have to keep in mind, is that education should remain affordable for average Americans to take advantage of. And when you think about these young people that come out so heavily indebted from 4 years of college or from grad school, it really puts them at a disadvantage. They are not able to start families, to start their careers at a point where they can advance in any meaningful way, because they're so heavily indebted. It's unreal how many loans these students have to take out, and then we are in the process of considering legislation that doubles the interest rate on these student loans. That's not fair, and that's not what the American dream should be about. And it should be about making college affordable, holding tuitions down, as well as holding the cost down of borrowing the money to pay for them.
Mm-hmm. The unfortunate part is, as I look at the way the student loan program works, the loans go to the ones that can ill afford to pay the extra money, because they always pick the brightest ones to get the scholarship.
Sure.
Which doesn't, I mean, there are people that are not in the top 100 that actually turn out to be very, very smart and go very far. Bill Gates, Michael Dell, Steve Jobs, is just to say, I mean, they were not in the top of their class.
They were average students.
They were average students, but they went to excel.
Right.
Were the people that were the brightest and the best. Doesn't seem to go that far, which is it seems like it's kind of upside down the way they do that. It should be based on your wanting to go to college and you have good enough grades to get into college, and then they should award the scholarships. If you got enough to get into college, they should award it based on that. In my opinion, I don't particularly like the way they do it.
That's a good way of keeping college affordable, so that everyone gets a shot at matriculating, and everyone is those who want to attend college and are qualified can go. And that's why I have remained active on a scholarship fund board, and I'm always looking for opportunities for young people to get financial help in order to attend college. And because we know that education is the pathway to the American dream and out of poverty.
Yeah, and nowadays also that the college loans and the cost of college is just astronomically high. I mean, textbooks. I have a friend who just bought textbooks for their student. It just went to college this year, and when I went to college, the textbooks were like $120. Now, a bag of textbooks, you're talking $1,000, $2,000. I mean, the textbooks are $280, $300 a piece, which is, not only do you have the cost of the education of the school part of it, you have your textbooks,
sure,
meals, and so on, which is constantly going up. So,
believe you me, I do know about that. My daughter just finished her first year of college, so I've had to shepherd her along through that process, and it's pretty costly, very costly.
So hopefully they will not double that, and hopefully they'll come up with something that'll help kids go to college as opposed
and
to...
will help families financially.
Right.
Yeah.
Maybe if you work in the field that you choose for so many years, they forgive some of it.
Well, that's why I appreciate programs like Teach for America that allow young people to work off a portion of those loans if they give back and go into underperforming schools and help turn those schools around. Those are the types of programs that incentivize young people to continue their education. So I support those fully.
Good. Well, good deal. Hopefully they'll do something. Hopefully we'll have good news next time you come back here.
For sure.
Let's talk about radiation.
Yes.
That's the big topic around our area right now is the landfills and the radiation that's leaking into, or it's getting close to where the dumping site was and so on. And, that's been around here for a long time. In fact, when I was a kid, as I was telling you earlier before we went on the air, that I used to play baseball where they had right where the dumping site was.
Exactly.
And, I think a report recently come out and said there's no danger or something. What's happening with that?
Mr. Mayor, look, it gives me a great deal of concern when you think about this waste is left over from the Manhattan Project, created by our government and Mallinckrodt. We have no good way of disposing of it. That's why I was very supportive of Yucca Mountain, because it would have set up a national site to take this nuclear waste that we know lives on for years. And I will be asking the EPA as well as the Army Corps of Engineers to take another look at Westlake landfill and to come up with more suitable remediation of the problem. Right now, we are about to embark on the cleanup of Carter Carburetor in North St. Louis on Grand Boulevard in North St. Louis City. And that's been a 5-year process of getting it designated a Superfund site and then getting the community to buy into what type of cleanup we are going to conduct here. And I realize that the community around Westlake is not happy with the answers they get from their government. And so that's why it's my responsibility as their representative to go back and see if we can come up with better solutions and come up with better answers from our government. As you said, there are some dangers lurking there. And there are possibilities that the radiation is seeping into the groundwater, which we don't need. That will destroy all kinds of life, and we don't need that. So that is something that I'm very concerned about, that I will work with anyone to try to resolve, and will bring those messages back to our government and say, here, we need a better solution.
Yeah, it's almost like they really need to finally, once and for all, like you say, take and remove the material, get it out of here.
Right.
Get it somewhere. I mean, that's been
that's
going
been
on
part
since
of the
I was a
problem.
kid. Since I was almost a kid.
That's been part of the problem. Okay, if you don't want it in your community, then where do we take it? And the government studied for 20 years Yucca Mountain, and now through a political deal, it's been wiped out. Through Harry Reid and the president, they decided we will not use Yucca Mountain as the national site to store nuclear waste. Okay, so what do we do next? Keep it there on site in these different communities? I don't think that's a viable solution. But now we're stuck. And so we have to be smart in this country about how we handle the nuclear waste, how we transport it, and how we store it. And people have to have honest conversations about it. You just can't say, I don't want this, but then not have an alternative solution. And I think both sides have been guilty of that. And we have to be honest about how we handle this, what the dangers are to a community, and be willing to take action and to accept science. What does science say? What are the dangers? And both sides have to be willing to accept the science of this technology.
Yeah, it's a difficult situation, and they keep, from the readings, it looks like they just keep moving it from department to department to department to try to, forestall it, and hopefully they'll.
Well, and when you think about how long it's taken us in this region to clean up the remnants of the Manhattan Project, it's over 60 years now. I do want to commend the Army Corps of Engineers for the work they do with FUSRAP in eradicating and cleaning up these sites, because they have done and completed several projects in this region at the Laddie site, out at the airport, and those projects are completed. Coldwater Creek. So, I mean, we have to just remain vigilant and stay on our government and ensure that our air, soil, water is safe.
Yep, it's an ongoing process,
Yes,
and
it
it's
is.
going to keep going
It
for years.
certainly is.
I was reading the other day, I don't know if you read the story about they're talking about now, how they can They take recyclable garbage, cardboard and plastics and so on. They bundle this up at these recycling centers. They put it on a cargo ship. It goes to China. They process it there and come back. I was reading the other day, they're saying Chinese now are turning those ships back. So if we start getting this stuff back, that's going to be another, they're going to have to either come up with some of those industries here, which maybe it's time we start processing our own recyclable materials as opposed to sending it over there.
We have to be smarter about the environment and about preserving the beauty of this country and our environment for future generations. We have to do this more efficiently, or else there won't be much left for our grandchildren.
That's absolutely true.
Yes.
What, as we begin to wrap up here, let me ask one other question. What's the status of the China hub? Is that basically the Missouri legislature now has to make the decision to allocate the credits, or is the federal government involved in that at all?
No, it's really a partnership between local businesses here in this community and the airport. And the airport has aggressively sought out not just Chinese businesses, but Asian businesses, South American corporations, to attract them to our airport as a hub for trade. And so that process is continuing. We are getting some good news. We are seeing developments that will hopefully make us a hub for air flight and for trade with these other countries, especially these countries that we have trade agreements with. So I see a lot of promise there. It may take you a couple of more years to finalize some of these deals, but I see us making progress on that front.
Yeah, because we're ideal right in the center of the United States. I mean, we should be
We
certainly a
certainly
good
are.
distribution center. Well, as we get in to wrap up, I'm going to ask you a question, Congressman Clay. I ask everybody that's on the show.
Okay.
Where'd you go to high school? That's a St. Louis thing, you know that.
I know. I did not attend high school in St. Louis. At the age of 12, my parents moved the family to the Washington, D.C. area. So I went to a high school in Silver Spring, Maryland, named Springbrook High School.
Well, great. Well, I always ask everybody. I mean, I even had some guests from Turkmenistan recently, and I asked them that question.
And I'm sure they looked at you puzzled.
I had to explain. I had to kind of set it up a little bit there beforehand. Well, thank you very
Mr.
much.
Mayor, it's always a pleasure.
It's a pleasure,
and thank
Congressman.
you so much.
Really appreciate it. We'll have to have you back real soon. If anybody wants to contact you and ask any questions or follow up on anything we discussed today, we'll put up on the board your contact information, and they can contact your office.
Thank you, and I
once
really
again.
appreciate this opportunity.
You're very welcome. Thank you for watching our show this evening. If you have any questions for me, please contact me at www.cityofblackjack.com or call me at area code 314-355-0400, extension 100. Thank you. Good evening.
I remember the moment.
I'll never forget that moment.
That moment?
It was a moment that changed my life. I'd been training with my team for months, and now we had been called up for the first time. The real deal. Wildfires were getting dangerously close to homes. At that moment, I got my first taste of just how important the Guard is to my community.
See how the Guard can be an important part of your life at NationalGuard.com.